All right. Well, happy Thursday night. And not only happy Thursday night, but Merry Christmas to you. We're almost to Christmas, right? Toby and Tom, almost?
We're almost there.
Almost there. I shopping days yet, and it's a bit stressful, but you are tuning in to YSS Let's Talk. We are here every single Thursday night. And if you did not get the chance to tune in last Thursday night, you need to tune in. It was an awesome YSS Let's Talk. All of our YSS Let's Talks you can find at www.yss.org. And just go to Let's Talk and definitely find last Thursday some inspirational messages. Truly was absolutely incredible. And tonight, we've got some inspirational messages to you or coming to you as well. Even right before we just went on air, I had the chance to meet for the first time this gentleman named Tom Berry. And inspiring. So don't talk yet, Tom. We're going to get there. Okay, because incredible stuff. But first, let me introduce to you Toby O'Berry, which is our IHYC director, which is the Iowa Homeless Youth Center director. And then also we have Tom Berry. And Tom is a past participant of the Youth Opportunity Center drop-ins. And again, we're going to be talking all about this. But first, let me say welcome to you both.
Thanks, Rusty. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, this is exciting. And what we're talking about is really exciting. And so Tom and Toby, both, can you introduce yourselves? Tell us a little bit about what you do. And Toby, can I ask you to go first?
Sure. I'm happy to do that. Thanks for letting us come for Let's Talk. We're happy to be here. And so I'm Toby O'Berry, the director at Iowa Homeless Youth Centers, and I lead our transition services for YSS. And I've been with the agency for 8 years. It's an exciting time for us. We're connecting donors to our participants to make sure that all of our youth have a merry holiday and a special Christmas time. So over 250 youth are getting connected to gifts and donations, and we couldn't do it without the community. So thank you for that. And the one program that we're going to highlight tonight is the Youth Opportunity Center Drop-In Center. So it's our YOC Drop-In Center, sometimes referred to as 612. And we used to be located at 701 Grand, and now we're at 612 Locust. But it's really emergency services for youth who are homeless on the streets to access vital basic need items to be able to survive and get back on their streets. And so happy to talk about that program a little bit and talk with Tom a little bit about his experiences.
Great. And again, thank you, Toby, and thank you for everything that you do. I don't know if you know this or not, but you're a legend at YSS. Everybody knows Toby and what you do. You're absolutely incredible. And Tom, welcome to you. And again, just hearing some of your story, which we're going to get to in just a little bit. But again, welcome and please share just a bit about what you do right now and introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name's Tom Berry. I'm a crew leader for Peterson Painting now, and I have a family of 3. Well, me, my wife, and my little 5-year-old daughter. And things are way different than they used to be. And I just believe that, God has put people like you guys in my life to bring me to this point in my life. And thanks for inviting me just to kind of share this journey and just maybe see that it does help, even if you don't get to see it.
Yeah. And this is incredible. I mean, and for you tuning in, stay tuned in because you're going to see a full wraparound for what Tom was just talking about and the impact that your donations and what you do and just the love, the difference it can really, really make. Truly incredible. So now we were just talking, Toby, I think you mentioned the YOC Drop-In Center, the make sure I get this right, Youth Opportunity Drop-In Center. And you said that's at 612 Locust. Can you talk just a little bit more about that and what it does, how people can even jump on board with that?
Yeah, it's really crisis stabilization for youth that don't have a home or living on the streets. And so what the Youth Opportunity Center does, or 612, it's really boils down to a safe space for youth to come in off the streets, out of the chaos, away from maybe their home that's unsafe, and meet with adults that are there to support them and meet whatever needs that they have. Things like food, 3 meals a day, clothing, shelter. We have a computer lab, showers, laundry. Youth can do art programming at our drop-in center, therapy services. It's really a one-stop shop for youth who are in crisis and on the streets that then can come in and just breathe in a safe environment and kind of regroup to get back on their feet.
Wow. And I know that Tom has some past experience with the drop-in center.
Mm-hmm.
And before we go there, again, right before we went live, I was just talking with Toby and Tom. And you two met a very interesting way.
Yep.
And Toby, you didn't even know that Tom was kind of a recipient of this program, right?
Yep. No, it was a surprise to me. Tom, you kind of started this. Do you want to share how kind of we met or how you kind of put the dots together?
Well, I mean, I paint houses for a living, and you hired us to do that. So
Yep.
it was a pretty big project. I was around your house for quite a while, and had my crew there, and we became friends. In passing, and you guys were real patient with us, and it just I noticed that you had the YSS or the YSS shirt on, and
Yep.
I'm like, I know that stuff, I know that program, and just in conversation, it was pretty interesting to hear that you were the director, and I felt so good for you because you actually got to see, now I'm a responsible young man or old man. So you were saying, you weren't there at 701,
Mhm.
but that's where I, had participated in. And it was still at the very beginning stages of what it is now.
So
But
Tom, you had actually participated in these services.
yes.
And can you share just a little bit maybe about your experiences and how you came to utilize and partake in these services?
Yeah. So, I mean, my story isn't much different than most kids. Abusive home, and just defiance, and a drug addiction, eventually, to kind of cover that all up, and I wound up running away all the time, and to get away from the abuse, and um, living on the streets of Des Moines, and just in and out of lockup, and in and off of people's couches, and just out, sleeping wherever I can in the parking garages, and in old buildings, and things like that. And drop in, what for me, it was a safe place, and I guess that's what it's meant to be.
Yeah.
It was a place that I could go to get washed up. They didn't have showers or anything like that at the time. But you could get washed up in the bathroom there, and not be scared, and of somebody coming in and jumping on you or something. And you always show up, during the holidays, and you show up at your birthday because people know you, and they make it special for you. You get to have friends, you get to see. I guess for me, what kept me homeless, just, or at least in drug addiction, was hopelessness. But at drop in, you seen that there was something different in life that I had not seen before. I never seen that at home. I never seen that anywhere. It just wasn't in my life. And so sobriety wasn't in my life. Just kindness and things like that just wasn't there. So coming to drop-in, it was definitely different, and I liked it. But at the same time, I didn't know how to live in it, So sometimes I say that I chose to be homeless because I was addicted to chaos, and I didn't get my stuff straight until later in life.
Yeah, and you were what, 17, or how old were you when you started accessing the Youth Opportunity Center drop-in?
So that's a tricky question for me because I don't remember the exact age. I know that I ran away when I was 13, and we lived in a small town outside of Des Moines, and I found my way to Des Moines, to the city, and found myself on the loop, and from there, it's history now. But that's part of the journey is, being on the loop and living on the loop. My life was lived at night, and you'd go to drop in to eat and just laugh and just be able to let your guard down for a minute, for me anyway.
Like a teenager should, right?
Right. And I mean, and I want to ask you here in a second, Tom, maybe one of your most favorite memories that you have. Before we get to that, if you're tuning in right now, you are watching YSS Let's Talk. We're live here on Facebook. We have two very special guests, and sorry, Toby, but I'm going to call Tom an even more special guest.
He is. Yeah.
We have Toby O'Berry, our YSS IHYC, our Iowa Homeless Youth Center Director. We also have here Tom Berry, who has personal experience from his youth in the program that we're talking about right now, and that accessed this program. So now let me go back to you, Tom, here and ask, do you have a memory or some memories that were good memories that you'd like to share?
Well, so they so I remember it was a winter time. My birthday is during the winter time. It's in November, and it's after Thanksgiving. And during Thanksgiving and Christmas and stuff, you get fed real well by everybody. And but somebody somewhere knew it was my birthday, and when I walked in to drop in, everybody sang happy birthday to me. And I was pretty in a pretty bad spot in my life, and sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay.
I was a pretty bad spot in my life, and it just made a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, and I can imagine, and I've heard so many testimonies, Tom.
Yeah.
We've talked about the Iowa Homeless Youth Center and the Youth Opportunity Center before on YSS Let's Talk, and you're not alone there in the difference that this makes with so many youth and Iowa youth, and it's absolutely incredible. And I know that there's a lot of people that it takes to make all of this possible. And Toby, you as the director of this could speak to that. What if, and here we go again, and I say this with every single YSS Let's Talk, it takes a village to pull this together. Mm-hmm. What is some of the village that it takes to pull a program like this together to give youth, like Tom was, kind of a chance to launch into success to like where he's at right now?
Well, really a lot of what it boils down to is community support, because our Youth Opportunity Center and our drop-in center services, 20% of the funding that we receive is by individuals and companies and charitable gifts and donations to make this a reality. So every year We need about 20% of our operating budget to be able to support the hundreds of youth in our drop-in center, like Tom. And it's really what I think is magical, that when I met Tom, he's an amazing guy, well put together, stable. I never dreamed that he was homeless. And so when we connected the dots that he received services at the drop-in center, I literally got goosebumps all over, because I never get a chance, and our staff never get a chance to meet 30, 40-year-olds who are successful after and Tom even said it in an earlier interview with me, that it's like we're planting seeds of opportunity. And we never get to see the harvest when it's fully mature. And so to be able to kind of see Tom as one example of a success, we have hundreds and thousands of youth that we've helped over the years, just like Tom, that we just don't have a good connection with them anymore. And so it's really special that, one, thank you, Tom, for being able to have the courage to share your story, because it is an amazing story of perseverance and resilience. And our characteristics of the youth that we serve, that they all have gone through significant trauma, but man, they just need one adult to believe in them. And if you have an adult just to sit there and be like, yeah, I think you can do it, man, that sky's the limit for the youth that we serve. And kind of Tom is one of those examples. So it's been so refreshing to meet Tom, to hear his story. And he's so humble. He won't even talk about how amazing he is in the community. He's so involved in his church. He gives back in so many different ways. He's so proud to pay taxes. He talked about his own family never kind of paying into the system, always being takers, and he's very proud to be paying back into the community. That, man, I just wish we had enough resources for all the youth that are in need, because they could all turn out successful just with having that adult in their corner.
Well, it is seeds, Rusty. It's and Toby, it just, you never know how those seeds are being worked in somebody's life. You know what I mean? You never know. Like when there was a point in my time in my life where I didn't think I thought there were two kinds of people: those that got high and those that lied about not getting high. And it's like that's all I knew was drugs, and that it, knowing that coming to drop in and seeing responsibility and then hearing encouragement, I didn't care about it at the time. You know, I'm not going to say that somebody told me, oh, you can be the best that you can, you know, whatever. And then I just went around and changed my life. No, I spent 36 years in prison, you know, or 26 years in prison, sorry, 26 years in prison. And from the time I was 15 to the time I was 36, but I think that's 26 years. And, you know, but I still remember, you know, the volunteers at Drop In. I still remember the other volunteers at the YSS Center and at Meyer Hall, and just they used to come into the juvenile detention centers and things like that, and they would always just try to encourage us. You know, you never know how that's gonna. We know that corn, you plant a seed and it grows. None of us really know how it grows unless you're a scientist, right? But we know that we can pick it off and we can eat it. So all we see is the beginning, the planting of the seed, and luckily we can see the harvest. You know, here, you know what God in my life. I believe that God has done this in my life and brought me through all of this so that I can help other youth out and other people out that are in this same situation now. And I'm presented those opportunities all the time, even in my work. So
again, if you're tuning in right now, can I ask you something? Share this video. Share this video, because this is truly an inspirational message that needs to get out to so many folks. Because Tom, you just talked about planting seeds. And those seeds can take forms, I believe, as also kind of a product of the Iowa foster care system. Myself personally, can take, you just hit on it, can take so many different forms too. Yeah. And you also just said like volunteers, the volunteers that made a difference in your life. Of course, the staff like Toby, we've got the funders. So if folks want to, if they're watching this right now and they're like, you know what, I want to be a part to make a difference in a youth's life. Like now, we can imagine, Tom, when you were younger, however many years ago, what you must have looked like and okay. So now if we want to make a difference to help youth achieve what you are achieving right now, Toby, what are ways people can get involved?
Well, really the easiest way to get involved is to go to our website and to go to yss.org and to donate to our agency. You can designate the Youth Opportunity Center or drop-in services or select IHYC for drop-in services because really every dollar that's raised in support of homeless youth goes towards homeless youth services. And it really is life-changing. Tom also had mentioned in another conversation how he valued, and like most youth at that time, nice clothes. And it's difficult to have. Maybe I'll let Tom. Do you want to share kind of what you had told me about clothing at the drop-in center?
Yeah. It's kind of selfish, I know, but
no,
it's when you're living on the streets, you're not clean. You're pretty dirty, stinky, and so I used to go there just to get a change of clothes, and I guess I was just using it. Because I really wasn't interested in changing my life. I didn't think it was really possible. But I would go there, get clean clothes, and clean up a little bit so that I looked halfway respectable. Because I would, while running the street, I tried to work, but I couldn't get through my addiction, and that always got in the way. And so I'd try to clean up to get a job or something, or so that I could walk in the store, so that I could steal, or just be able to walk around people. I just had a lot of pride, and I wanted to look clean.
And this is all things that Tom was just talking about, the clothes, but Toby, this is all things that the drop-in center does, correct?
Yep.
Clothing, laundry, food. Sorry.
No. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, food, laundry, clothes, computers. I know from a former YSS Let's Talk was talking about even helping with like applications.
Yep, job applications, resumes. And I think what's interesting, and Tom, you talked about it, a lot of youth, they aren't really ready to change in that specific moment. And what's the beauty of the drop-in center is we are going to meet that youth exactly where they are in life, non-judgmentally, support them. Maybe we would talk about here some things we think might be a good idea, but we're never going to tell you what you have to do. We're going to support you as you have ups and downs. But that's the point where you're building a relationship and trust. And it's something that homeless youth don't have in their lives. And so our staff, and we say it in all of our trainings and in our staff meetings, we're here to meet youth where they're at in life, wherever situation or part of their life that they're in. We want to just be here to support. And Rusty, I think there's one thing that I would like to touch on. Yeah. We joked a little bit earlier about how close Tom's name and my name are. Tom Berry, Toby O'Berry.
I haven't messed up once, by the way.
Tom and I are the exact same age. I was fortunate to be born into a home that had a stable parents, and I was able to thrive in that environment. Tom lost the lottery of life at no fault of his own, was born into an unstable home environment. The two of us looking at us right here, same age, We're in good places now, but it was just random on how life chose me to be in a stable home and Tom not to be in a stable home. So it's extremely powerful just to see that fate and that luck. And it's not Tom's fault. And he needs, and the time as a youth, the support to be successful. And man, is he successful now. And I'm so proud of what he has done and accomplished. And he accomplished almost all of it on his own. We helped a little bit, but all of these youth are accomplishing their goals and dreams by doing hard work. And you can see that in his life today.
Yeah.
You definitely, and if you're in my shoes, looking back, you guys are the heroes, behind the scenes, and the volunteers are the ones that are, when we're laying in a cell, for me, you think about the people that you've met, over the last year or something, and you forget about all of the negative ones and you remember the ones that were positive, because them are the ones that you want to go back and run into again. If I would get out of lockup or something, I would go back to drop in and everybody would make me feel welcome. Like they knew that I'd been in trouble. I mean, because as soon as somebody gets in trouble, everybody knows it, but I would come home or come back to drop in and they would be, welcoming. They feed you and clothe you. And at that time, there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity for education. Now there is. So, I wish I had more money to give or something like that, but I don't. But I know that there are people that do, and can, and I see that they have been. And
well, Tom, think about the trade of painting and that skill set and how you're helping so many youth. Maybe talk a little bit about that component of kind of your life.
It's funny that you say that, because I always wonder, what am I doing in life? What's my purpose? And why did I go through all that I went through? And Kerry Peterson, who owns Peterson Painting, gave me a shot, and put a lot of responsibility in my hands and a lot of trust in me. And he does this. He puts actions to his heart by, he'll give guys in that aren't looking for a handout but a hand up, a job, and they get put on my crew. And I'm able to just speak into their life and relate to what they're going through. Some of them are in addiction, some of them aren't, some of them are coming out of it. There's been all kinds of people, 18, 19, 20 years old on my crew that I've been able to plant seeds in their life, and just, they know from my history that I'm not fake. I've been there. And I think that that's the most powerful, you can't, I don't want to say that you can't be a drug counselor and not ever gone through addiction. I don't want to say that, because there are some great counselors out there that have big hearts. But as an addict, you don't believe that person unless you believe that they've actually been struggled through addiction. And so a guy isn't going to listen to you. A kid isn't going to listen to you unless you've been there, and so, well, I'm not going to say that. It just adds value. That's what I want to say, to the relationship. And at drop-in, that's one thing we had was trust in the staff there. I went through some hard times. There were some really trying things and embarrassing things in my life that, I trusted them with, and they never betrayed that trust, that I know of. And they were just there to listen. And I think that, and sometimes for me in my job, sometimes you just got to listen and not try to be, the savior, because we only have one savior. And you just got to listen. And I think that I learned that from the volunteers that I've come across over the years.
And again, I love it that you said volunteers, because this is one of my soapboxes, Tom, is getting folks. I mean, everybody can play a part in this, and be a volunteer. Like you just said, a lot of people don't have a lot of money to give if it's just money, but be it to volunteer time, be it goods, be it clothing, or be it food, or be it, there's so many different ways that people can help. And you are a product, a shining example of what the Youth Opportunity Center drop-in can do. And Toby, something, you said this on a former YSS Let's Talk that blew my mind. How many youth are served typically in a year with the Youth Opportunity Center, or 612, what we call it?
612, it's around 300 youth a year.
Wow.
Services.
So that is incredible. 300. So so if you're watching this YSS Let's Talk right now, the first thing I can do is encourage you to share this. It's as simple as just click share. Click share, get the word out there. If you want to encourage other folks that maybe aren't on Facebook to watch this, you can go to www.yss.org. And again, look this YSS Let's Talk up and talk to people about Tom Berry and his story. And Tom, have you ever thought about writing a book?
No, I'm not. I'm not going to write a book.
I've already picked out your title. It's The Seed of Inspiration.
I got too many houses to paint.
I love it. Truly a success story, and so inspiring. And for folks listening, jump on board here. Find some way that you can be a part of this village, be a part of this team.
It's really big, Rusty. I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, please.
But one of the biggest struggles for people that come up like this, like I did, is jobs. And if you're an employer, man, give somebody a shot. I mean, let them prove you wrong, because sometimes it's just a matter of saying, okay, I'll give you a shot, and I'm going to teach you a skill that you can make a living with, so that you don't have to steal, so that you don't have to sell drugs, so that you don't have to sell your body. And I'm gonna let you have that opportunity. And then when they fall, have grace. I mean, let them make mistakes and learn from them. Just because a person, grew up on the streets, ended up in prison because that's the only thing that could happen, because that's the easiest way, and they end up in prison, and then you don't want to employ them because they've got a felony. I'll just tell you, I'm very successful at my job because somebody gave me an opportunity, and I have over 4 felonies. I'm on the fire department, and in my city, I volunteer all the time. It's just a matter of giving somebody an opportunity to shine and help others. I mean, when you cut them off at the knees and you say, well, just because you have a felony and you've lived this kind of life in the past, you say, well, I can't employ you. Well, then you're just putting them right back on the streets again.
Yep.
Now they're not kids, they're not youth that are homeless. They're grown adults that are homeless.
Yep.
It's just a revolving cycle. Somebody's got to give them a shot. And send them to me. I'll work with them. It doesn't. I think that is. And then, Toby, you guys teaching people how to fill out applications. Oh my goodness. I've probably only filled out a couple applications in my life. Most of my jobs I got with a handshake and just selling myself to them.
Yep.
and proving myself. And I can operate heavy equipment. And I can frame, I can do carpentry. luckily I found a spot where I'm very successful. But I don't, if I'm not painting tomorrow, I'm still going to have the same message to people. You know what I mean? And that's one, that there's hope in Jesus Christ, and that you don't have to live in that life. And there's something different that is different. We get addicted to chaos when we're on the streets. It's just, I know it doesn't sound pretty, but you get addicted to irresponsibility and chaos. And it's scary to not be in that. I'm still scared today of all my bills. I'm still scared of being responsible. And I talk to my mentors about it. That's another thing. Be a mentor to somebody. I mean, don't just say, oh, there's an issue, and then turn your back on it. Do something, whether it's give money or give time. Give something. Do something to fix it instead of complaining about it.
Yeah, and you are preaching the word of and kind of the mission of YSS, if I may, because everything you've talked about, you just talked about mentoring. And one of the things that I love with YSS is we have an entire mentoring program, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where folks can actually come and be a mentor and get guided and kind of do that. You mentioned youth employment and filling out those job applications. In the department in YSS that I work, we have a youth employment specialist that goes in now and actually educates youth to fill out those youth, and goes into different places, and does that. We have so many different avenues for people to get involved. And I mean, I saw a comment earlier from Andrew Allen, which is our YSS CEO, by the way, Tom. And he says here, we're always hiring good people with lived experiences, So, I mean, and right before that, he does talk about what an inspiration you are. And you truly are an inspiration. And wow, this is true. This has been an incredible YSS Let's Talk. And I, again, can't encourage those enough that are tuning in to share this, or if you're tuning in even later to share this.
Rusty, let me just take a second here.
Please.
Just whoever's interested or listening to this program, I want to say thank you for myself and for all the youth that have been helped through this. I mean, I can't say that YSS saved my life or anything like that, but it was a seed that brought me to where I'm at today. And so I just want to say thank you, and also ask for your forgiveness if for the way that I took advantage of you when I was young, and maybe even abused you or stole from you. But I want to say thanks.
Well, we appreciate you coming on and sharing your story, Tom. It's a rare, special thing to have an adult come back and talk through their experiences. So I want to thank you for sharing that, because it was so random, just happenstance by meeting each other, and then to be able to hear your story, and then to have you be willing to share it publicly. We're in the middle of our annual campaign for our fundraising dollars. You were gracious enough to let your story be shared on our annual appeal that went out to donors, because your story is special and resonates with Rusty and myself and with the other individuals that heard and have heard your story. So thank you for impacting the youth that you're helping through workforce training. I think as well that you're creating seeds, like you had mentioned, at the same time. So it's really just someone gave a little bit to you, and then you're continuing to give that back for years to come, is exactly what we need in our community right in this moment.
Yep. And I can't thank, everybody a part of this, but again, Tom Barry, thank you so much for sharing everything that you've shared today on YSS Let's Talk, and for being an inspiration. I hope you know what the inspiration that you are to not only me, not only Toby, but to countless other people. And they are looking at you, and you're inspiring them and giving them words. And also, I don't count out that book that I said that I now, or maybe we
You
could
can
just
get a ghostwriter and someone can write it for you. You just give them the words and they'll do the writing.
If there's a ghostwriter, maybe. All right.
All right. Well, you've been watching YSS Let's Talk. We are here every single Thursday night, 7 p.m. Again, tonight has been absolutely incredible. Two very, very, very special guests. We have Toby O'Berry, our IHYC, also known as the Iowa Homeless Youth Center director. And then the guest of honor tonight, we have Tom Barry, which is a past participant and now manager supervisor at Peterson Painting. And again, truly phenomenal testimony, and just a wonderful, wonderful person. And again, for me, the resonating theme is you get to see what success looks like and how you can be a part of that. And be it through volunteering, be it through financial, be it through giving in other ways, you can find all out about that at yss.org. And Toby, is there a specific place you would like for folks to go to find out more about the IHYC program?
It would just be under IHYC on the YSS.org page under programs in the community Des Moines. And then you can see the Youth Opportunity Center program.
Okay. So absolutely wonderful. And again, thank you all. Thank you all for being a part of this. And Tom, I don't know what else to say to you. You're incredible.
No, you guys are the one.
Well,
Thanks.
Thank you very much. So, well, until next week, again, thank you all for tuning in. And again, thank you for your support. Go to www.yss.org for more information. Before I finally close, Toby, Tom, any final words?
Donate.
Listen to Tom.
Like that. Donate.
Donate.
And there you have it, yss.org/opportunity 2020. So thank you very, very much. And way to make a Merry Christmas, Tom. So,
Christmas.
Yes, thank you guys. All right. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Awesome.